Hi there! Today we're creating the Charmaine Crossbody Drawstring bag. A stunning yet simple bag that's perfect as a crossbody or hobo bag, thanks to its adjustable crossbody strap. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found this channel. It's all about fun, step-by-step sewing tutorials to guide crafters of all levels in creating beautiful sewing projects. This video pairs with my PDF patterns available on my shop, so grab your materials and let's dive into making this cute bag. I've popped the materials list on screen, so take a quick pause to check you've got everything ready to roll. Assuming you've printed and joined the paper pattern and also traced and cut your fabric pieces, we're all set to move on to the next step. Depending on your fabric, choose either Fusible or sew-in interfacing to match its weight and the structure or drape you want. If your fabric is thick, like sturdy denim, skip interfacing for a natural feel. When applying interfacing, follow the interfacing position guide in our pattern's instructions. For Fusible, place the fabric wrong side up, position the interfacing adhesive side down, and press with an iron. For sew-in, cut the interfacing to match the pattern pieces. Place on the fabric's wrong side, align edges, and stitch the edge with a straight or zigzag stitch. For my Charmaine bag, I added sew-in interfacing to the outer body and gusset pieces for added structure, but left the lining without interfacing to keep it soft and flexible. This Charmaine bag uses medium to heavyweight tapestry fabric, which is too thick for the strap slider. To address this, we'll combine it with a thinner cotton fabric for a perfect fit. If you're using a thin to medium weight fabric like cotton or linen, you can skip this method and refer to the standard double fold strap instructions in the next section for the drawstrings. The procedure is the same, but you'll need a 2 cm strap for the crossbody strap. For the combined fabric method, we need a 4 cm wide strip of the tapestry fabric for the exterior and a matching 4 cm wide strip of the cotton lining fabric. Place the exterior tapestry fabric and the cotton lining with their right sides facing each other. Align all edges and secure with clips or pins. Now, sew along one long edge with a 1 cm seam allowance using a straight stitch. Go slow to keep it neat. With the wrong side of the tapestry fabric facing up, fold the unsewn long edge 1 cm inward, so the wrong sides are together. I use a heat-resistant ruler to assist in folding and ironing the strap for a crisp, precise finish. Be cautious, as the ruler can become extremely hot during ironing, so handle it with care. Press this fold with an iron to hold it in place. This creates a clean edge for the next step. Now, with the wrong side of the cotton lining facing up, fold its unsewn long edge 1 centimeter inward, wrong sides together. Then, fold this edge toward the exterior tapestry side to encase the raw edge. Secure the entire folded strap with clips or pins to keep it in place. Unfold both ends of the strap to expose the raw edges. At each corner of both ends, that's 4 corners total, cut a small triangular notch, about 1 centimeter high and 7 millimeters deep. This reduces bulk and helps the ends look clean when folded. Fold each end of the strap 1 centimeter inward to encase those raw edges. Then, refold the strap as you did previously, making sure all raw edges are tucked inside. Secure the folded ends with clips or pins to hold everything in place. Finally, stitch around all 4 edges of the strap, about 2 millimeters from the edge, using a straight stitch. This secures the folds and gives your strap a polished, professional look. Take your time to keep the stitching even. You've now completed a 2 centimeter wide crossbody strap. Set it aside for a later step in assembling the bag. We'll need 2 identical strips for the pair of drawstrings. With the wrong side of the drawstring fabric facing up, fold each long raw edge inward to meet the center line of the fabric. Folding and pressing heavyweight tapestry fabric can be challenging for a thin strap. To make it easier and achieve a neat, professional finish, apply a thin layer of fabric glue before folding for a crisp, secure hold. Since we'll need to unfold both ends of the strip approximately 2 centimeters to encase the raw edge later, do not apply glue to the ends. Unfold both ends of the strip to expose the raw edges. At each corner of both ends, that's 4 corners total, cut a small triangular notch about 1 centimeter high and 7 millimeters deep. This reduces bulk for a cleaner finish. Fold each end of the strip inward by 1 centimeter to conceal the raw edges. Secure these folded ends with clips to hold them in place. Now, fold the strip in half along the center line, enclosing all raw edges inside. Then use clips to secure the folds along the entire length of the strip. For a crossbody strap using the double fold method, stitch around all 4 edges of the strap, approximately 2 millimeters from the edge using a straight stitch after clipping. For a drawstring, stitch about 2 millimeters from the folded edge using a straight stitch. Sew slowly to keep your stitching even. Repeat the same steps for the second drawstring. Ensure both are identical for a balanced look on your bag. We are going to make the strap holders. Start with the strap fabric wrong side up. Fold it in half widthwise, aligning the short edges, then press with an iron to create a sharp center crease. After that, unfold the fabric so the wrong side is still up. You'll see the center crease. Fold each long, raw edge inward to meet that crease and press with an iron to set the folds. Okay, let's fold the fabric in half widthwise along the center crease, enclosing the raw edges. Press again to form a strap about 2 centimeters wide. Then, sew along both long edges, stitching 2 millimeters from each edge. Now, locate the center point of the strap by folding it in half lengthwise to create a crease. Cut along this crease to create 2 straps of equal length. Here's where we add the rectangle rings. Take one strap and thread it through a rectangular ring. Fold the strap in half to align the raw ends and clip to secure it in place. Once completed the same process with the second strap, we'll sew them together with a 3 millimeter seam allowance to secure the ring. After you finish sewing, set the straps with their rectangular rings aside for assembly later. For the body, fold each body panel and the gusset in half lengthwise to find the midpoint. Use a fabric marker or place a pin to mark this spot clearly. Place the gusset fabric piece right side up. Then, take one body fabric piece and position it on top of the gusset, wrong side up. Secure the aligned edges with clips. Start by clipping both ends, then clip the center, and add more clips evenly along the edge to hold everything in place. Once completed, sew the aligned edges together using a 1 cm seam allowance. While sewing, keep all fabric layers smooth and flat to avoid puckering. Take it slow to ensure a clean, even stitch. Repeat the process for the second body piece. Align the second body fabric piece with the opposite long edge of the gusset, wrong side up, matching the curved edge and midpoints. Then clip the edges as done previously, and sew using a 1 cm seam allowance, keeping the fabric smooth. Finally, trim small triangular notches along the curved edges to reduce tension and improve shaping, being careful not to cut the stitching lines. Now that the body is complete, prepare the lining using the same steps as the body, but leave a 9 cm gap along one side edge for turning the bag later, like so. All right, it's time to get those drawstring casings ready for the Charmaine bag. The back of the single-sided tapestry fabric we're using is rough and prone to loose threads, which can easily snag or fray. To protect it, I've sewn a backing fabric over the wrong side. If your fabric doesn't have this issue, you can skip this step and start by taking one drawstring casing fabric piece and placing it wrong side up. Fold each short end inward by 2 centimeters to create clean, finished edges. Secure each folded end with sewing clips to hold them in place. Next, sew each folded short end with a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Once you've finished sewing, set the casings aside for assembly later. The Charmaine bag uses invisible magnetic buttons, so we'll need to create casings for them. If you're using a visible magnetic snap or skipping the buttons entirely, feel free to jump ahead. To make the invisible magnetic button casings, first, take one fabric piece and place it wrong side up. For extra durability, measure and mark 1 centimeter from the edge of the fabric and add heavyweight interfacing where the button will be sewn. Next, take the north pole of your magnetic button and place it right side up, centered right next to that 1 centimeter mark. Like this. Mark where the button will go. Repeat the process for the second casing, but this time use the south pole of the magnetic button, placed right side up. Next, we will sew around the button with a 2 to 3 millimeter seam allowance. Once you've finished sewing, double-check that the poles are correctly oriented so they attract each other when snapped together. And that's it. Your casings are ready. First, attach the magnetic button casings to the lining panels. Mark the midpoint widthwise along the top and bottom edges of both the lining panels and the casings. Take one magnetic button casing and align its midpoint with the midpoint on the wrong side of one backlining panel, placing the casing wrong side down, like so. Then clip both short edges of the casing to secure it in place. Repeat the process for the front lining panel using the other magnetic button casing. Double-check that the magnetic button's poles, north and south, are correctly oriented so they attract each other when snapped together. Next, sew with a 5mm seam allowance to secure them in place. All right, we need to attach the strap holders to the side gussets now. First, mark the center point on each strap holder and side gusset. Then, line up those marked center points with the right sides together, and pop some clips on to hold them in place. Lastly, stitch each strap holder to the side gusset with a 5mm seam allowance. It's time to hook up those drawstring casings to the Charmaine bag's body. First, take one drawstring casing and fold it in half widthwise with the wrong sides together. Next, line up the raw edges of that folded casing with the top raw edge of the front body panel, right sides together, making sure the casing's ends match the center points of the strap holders, and secure it with clips. Then, do the same for the second drawstring casing and the back body panel. Finally, sew around the edge of each casing with a 1 cm seam allowance. Okay, time to attach the lining to the body. First, slide the outer bag into the lining, right sides together, and line up the seams at the 4 corners, then clip them in place. Next, keep clipping the outer bag and lining together around the top raw edges to hold everything tight. And now, just run a stitch around the top edge with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. All right, here's the most exciting part of making your bag: turning it right side out through the opening in the lining. The gap in the lining is small, so take your time and turn the bag right side out slowly to avoid stretching the fabric. Now, finger press the edges of the lining's turning gap to get them nice and aligned. Finally, top stitch 3 millimeters from the edge to close the gap. Or grab a needle and use a blind stitch for a sneaky, invisible finish. let's get that adjustable strap set up for the bag. First, wrap 3 centimeters of the strap through the rectangular ring on the right side of the bag, making sure the right side of the strap faces out. Then clip it with a sewing clip and stitch it down with a 5mm seam allowance. Next, take the free end of the strap and thread it through the adjustable slider about 1/3 of the strap's length over the center bar and back down the other side. Then, slide it through the rectangular ring on the left side of the bag and pull it through. After that, bring 3 centimeters of the strap end back up, over the slider's bar, and through the opposite side, pulling it nice and taut to lock in that adjustable mechanism. Finally, fold and clip the strap end under, then sew a straight stitch 5mm from the folded edge to secure the adjustable strap. All right, here we come to the last step, threading the drawstrings. Grab your first drawstring. This could be the 1 centimeter wide fabric strip you made earlier or a cord, whatever you're using. Take a safety pin or a bodkin and attach it to one end of the drawstring. Clip it on tight so it doesn't slip off. Now, take your first drawstring with the bodkin and thread it through one opening of the drawstring tunnel. Push it all the way around the bag, scrunching the fabric as you go until it comes out the opposite opening. You'll have one end sticking out on each side. Grab your second drawstring, attach the bodkin again, and do the same thing, but start from the other opening. Thread it around and out of the first opening. You'll end up with 2 drawstrings crisscrossing through the tunnel. Gently pull the ends of both drawstrings to make sure they're even on opposite sides. You want equal lengths on each side so the bag gathers nicely when you pull. Just tug and adjust until it feels right. To keep those drawstrings from slipping back into the tunnel, tie a simple knot at the end of each drawstring and you're done. And there you have it. Your crossbody drawstring bag is complete. Isn't it just so cute with that adjustable strap and drawstring closure? If you love making this bag, grab the PDF pattern from my shop, hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more sewing tutorials. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.